Long bone measurement is done using a device called the osteometric board, which is this board right here. Now, osteometric boards can take multiple shapes and be in multiple types of materials. You might see plastic ones, metal ones, or homemade wood ones like this one here. But all of them have a movable piece. As you can see, this piece slides back and forth, and a piece that is an upright that does not move. Those are our two important pieces. Now, to measure the bone, you're going to put the proximal end towards the immovable upright, flush against it. You're going to move the movable part to close the board. Now, to take the maximum length of the bone, you don't want to just set it in the board like this and close it, because depending on what angle the bone is at will depend on what the measurement is. So once you put it in and close the board, you're actually going to hold the proximal end against the immovable upright and just kind of wiggle the other end back and forth a little bit. Just going to move it back and forth gently. That allows the movable piece to move the maximum length. Then you are going to read the ruler in centimeters at the edge of this immovable piece, the movable piece. So right now for this particular bone, I'm getting 44.2 centimeters because I've got the 44 and then two little lines before this wooden piece hits. And so it doesn't matter what bone you have. If it's a long bone, you're going to use the osteometric board to take your measurement. Then if you're doing stature equations, you would take those measurements and plug them into the stature equations to calculate your stature. If you're using it for a different thing, say for primate intramembral index, you would take the measurement the exact same way and then simply plug it into the other equation that you would be using for that task. When we measure smaller items, we don't use the osteometric board. Instead, we use calipers. Now, these are what we call sliding calipers, and that's because they slide back and forth when they open. Now, to take a measurement with these, you're simply going to slide out, find that maximum length, close the calipers, right, as tight as you can, and then on this one, you read from the 0. So there's our measurement. We've got our 0 here. This particular rule is in millimeters. So this particular bone here, I'm going to read right at that little where that 0 hits the rule, is going to show at 138 millimeters. Now remember, to convert millimeters to centimeters, you divide by 10. So 138 millimeters is going to be 13.8 centimeters. So again, this would be used for primates to identify intramembral index, or we might use it for juvenile humans if we're measuring infant bones or something of that nature.